5 and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the media briefing for Council President Kate Stewart. I'm Jordan Lindsay. Reporters, if you still need permission to record, please note that in the chat. And if you have any questions throughout this briefing, you can note that in the chat as well or raise your hand. Now I'll toss it to Council President Stewart for opening remarks. Council President, to you.
Great. Thank you, Jordan, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. With the ongoing confusion and uncertainty around executive orders, federal cuts, and layoffs, last week, more than 650 residents tuned in to live for a kickoff of the Montgomery County's United in Service and Support webinar series to assist federal workers, contractors, and residents in our county. We were very fortunate to be joined by Senator Chris Van Hollen, who shared resources with residents on how to get in touch with his office and joined us to answer a number of questions from residents during the webinar. He encouraged residents to reach out to his office and federal workers in particular who believe they have been terminated without cause, or to share their story as our Democratic representatives in the House and Senate come together to find solutions to minimize harm to our region, our residents, and restore the rule of law. We were also joined by County Executive Elridge and HHS Health Insurance Manager Sean Gibson to talk about county resources. Additionally, Mary Beth Hastings, a Montgomery County resident, shared information about the impact the current federal administration's decisions are having on federal workers, particularly for those working in vital spaces like human rights, democracy, economic development, public health, and gender equality. I will host the next webinar with U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin, which will be focused on mental health support and resources. This is scheduled for Thursday, March 6th at 7:30 p.m. We will also have representatives from our Health and Human Services Department, EveryMind, Montgomery Pride, and the Black Physicians and Healthcare Network to assist residents. The link to attend the webinar can be found on the Council's homepage and the United in Service and Support webpage, as well as in the chat. Each of the webinars are recorded and posted on the Council's website. Residents can also find them on YouTube and on County Cable in Montgomery. If community members have questions or need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to my office, and we will make sure to put you in contact with someone who can help. Now, turning to the Council this week and we know that Ramadan has begun this past weekend, and as we enter this sacred month, I want to wish all of our residents observing Ramadan a peaceful and blessed Ramadan. This month is not only significant for our local communities, but it holds global importance as a time of unity, compassion, and charity. In keeping with the spirit of Ramadan, fostering interfaith and intellectual dialogue is essential in building stronger, peaceful, and more inclusive community, and serves as a reminder for all of us to practice kindness, generosity, and empathy towards others. I wish all of those celebrating Ramadan Mubarak to you and your loved ones. I will be joining the Muslim Community Center and the Islamic Society of the Washington area for their iftar dinners later this week. I also want to take this opportunity to wish our Middle Eastern residents a very happy Middle Eastern Heritage Month. We will be hosting a proclamation in celebration of this tomorrow at 1:15 p.m. with the county executive. March is also Women's History Month, a time when the county hosts events and encourages residents to honor the incredible women of Montgomery County who have shaped our community and continue to inspire us today. Whether they're trailblazers, leaders, neighbors, or our loved ones, we recognize the women who have broken barriers and paved the way for future generations. The Council will be hosting a proclamation and commemoration next Tuesday, March 11th, to celebrate the amazing women right here in the county who are making a difference every day through their work and commitment to our community. Women's History Month is a reminder to empower the next generation of girls and women to pursue their dreams and create their own legacies. As we see increased attacks on women's rights at the federal level, this month isn't just about reflection. It is also about action as we continue to work toward greater progress and equality for all women in Montgomery County and across the United States. We will not allow decisions made at the federal level to turn back the clock on women's freedoms here in Montgomery County. In addition, tomorrow, as we turn to the council's legislative items, the council is expected to vote on expedited bill 29-24. I introduced this bill to provide some relief to our essential service providers in the Silver Spring Central Business District who have been adversely impacted by the ongoing construction in the area. During the Transportation and Environment Committee, the Bethesda and Wheaton areas were also added to this bill. These specialized service providers who we are looking to assist with this bill include, but are not limited to, DHHS full-time employees, licensed child care providers, and organizations that provide social services to unhoused population in the area, including preparing meals, providing shelter, clothing, or job placement. My intention behind this bill has been to ease the burden on our residents who work on these essential services for our community members. Many of us had hoped that the Purple Line would be in service by now to help ease traffic congestion and the pressures put on residents and businesses in the area. According to MTA officials, it is about 74% complete, with a target opening for the Purple Line in December of 2027. I hope this bill will provide some relief to residents impacted by the significant delay. The bill would establish designated parking and a parking permit rate for those specialized service providers and authorize the Montgomery County Department of Transportation to review eligibility criteria and administer parking permits in the Silver Spring, Bethesda, and Wheaton business districts. Also tomorrow, we will be holding a public hearing on Bill 3-25, which is sponsored by the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee, which I chair, and includes Councilmember Friedson and Katz. This bill will help residents who have limited income or are on fixed incomes and are cost burdened because of the rising property assessments. Last year, the council discussed expanding the property tax credit for individuals 65 and older. That bill did not move forward last year. Working with my colleagues on the Government Operations Committee, we have looked at another way to assist those in need. Bill 3-25 would alter the criteria to expand eligibility on who would qualify for the county supplement to the state Maryland Homeowners Tax Credit, known as HOTC. The HOTC is a progressive tax credit administered by the state of Maryland's Department of Assessment and Taxation, where lower income households receive a larger credit on their property taxes, so relief is targeted to residents on limited income who need it the most. The Government Operations and Committee bill would do three things to expand the pool of eligible individuals who can apply for the credit. It would expand eligibility by increasing the combined income eligibility level from $60,000 to $75,000 per household. It would increase the net worth criteria from $200,000 to $250,000, and it would increase from $300,000 to $375,000 the assessed values upon which the credit could apply. After the public hearing on Tuesday afternoon, Bill 3-25 will be reviewed at the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee on March 13th at 1:30 p.m. Then it will head back to the full council for a final vote. Finally, tomorrow, the council will take up Bill 22-24, which would require the collection of development impact taxes at final inspection of a new building. The bill was passed unanimously by the council on February 4th and was then vetoed by the county executive on February 18th. Under current county law, an applicant for a building permit doesn't need to pay any development impact tax, transportation mitigation payment, or school facilities payment until 6 or 12 months after the building permit is issued, depending on the type of building, or the final inspection of the building by the Department of Permitting Services, whichever is earlier. The bill strikes the 6 or 12-month provision so that payment is not required until the final inspection of the building. The bill aims to stimulate development by altering the timing of impact tax payments, which reduce upfront costs for developers and make projects more financially viable. By requiring payment only after final inspection, the bill establishes a clearer connection between the development process and its resulting impacts on infrastructure and services. One of the bill's key objectives is to help address the housing crisis by facilitating the creation of more housing units, thus increasing overall housing availability. We received positive testimony during our public hearing on this bill in January, from individuals, housing advocates, Chamber of Commerce, and private land use attorneys that all concurred on this point. We need more housing in Montgomery County. And this is one of the ways to facilitate that process. The council unanimously enacted Bill 22-24, and a vetoed override vote is scheduled for tomorrow. I think those are all the things that I have as an update today, Jordan. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Council President Stewart. And for reporters, the United in Service and Support webpage that was mentioned earlier with the links to resources and all that good stuff can be found in the chat. If you have any questions, you can note that in the chat as well. We'll open it up for questions now. Do we have any questions today? I don't see any questions. Okay, well, Miriam Shazad with MyMCM. Good afternoon, Miriam.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Council President. About the United in Service Support Information Session, with this one being focused on mental health, right? That's a little, it's different, it's more specific. So is that, a mounting concern with things that are going on with federal workers? Are the mental health concerns really increasing?
So, Miriam, thank you for the question. Last week when we did the kickoff, we were focusing on just generally unemployment as well as health benefits, because those were two of the things that we were hearing from residents, particularly some of our federal employees and contractors, that those were two urgent needs. One of the other urgent needs we've been hearing from folks is understanding resources regarding mental health services that are available. I think this is for our federal employees and contractors, but we will also have with us representatives from MoCo Pride, our Health and Human Services, as well as the Black Physicians Network, because we know that given the attacks from the White House right now, it is impacting our community in a number of ways. And we want to make sure people are connected with resources that we have here.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much, Miriam. Any other reporters have any questions today? Going once, going twice, 3 times? Okay, no more questions. Back to you, Council President Stewart.
Great. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today, and I hope folks are able to tune in on Thursday evening at 7:30 when we do our webinar on mental health. Thank you, Jordan.